Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Dr. Claudia Albers, Planet X research and professional physicist. And today I'd like to bring to you another one of my articles. This one's entitled Planet X and Why Physics Has Failed. Now, physics is about discovering how the universe works. So physicists are supposed to work to uncover the truth about how the universe operates. However, as time goes on, physics seems less and less able to explain how the universe works and explain what is going on in our solar system and our planet. I believe that this has occurred because most physicists have failed to properly search for the truth. As a physicist myself, I can place myself within the group of physicists who, at least initially, failed to search for the truth simply because I trusted those who were my teachers way too much. I thought that if I didn't quite understand something perfectly after seeking clarification, it was because there was something wrong with my ability to understand rather than with the logic behind the concepts themselves. It was only when I became a teacher and was trying my best to explain everything to my students in the clearest way possible that I came across connections that made no sense. And I started to realize that there was something very wrong with physics itself. And here you see some students in a lecture. Now, so why do physicists fail? We fail if we fail to think logically. The main reason why solar physicists have failed to uncover the truth about the sun and what is going on in the solar system is that, first of all, they fail to realize that nothing happens without a reason. If you park your beautiful undamaged car in the evening and in the morning it has a crumpled back section, do you think that just happened without any cause? Did the car go through some crash cycle, or did another car crash into your car? Obviously you think that someone crashed into your car, something happened to cause your car to look the way it now does, and that another vehicle was involved. But solar physicists think that the sun has CMEs, solar flares, or may even nova for no reason. It just happens. Because they think it just happens, because they think that there can be an effect without a cause, they have failed to look for the real reason why these things happen, and have thus failed to uncover the truth regarding what Planet X is and how the universe really works. And here you see some of the causes of why these things happen with the sun. You can clearly see from these images the sun is going through CME events, but they are objects in the way. They are always objects within the CME material because these objects are the cause for those CME events. And you may look at Article 501 entitled Planet X Induced Volcanic Eruptions or Like an Earth CME. And what are these objects? This is the real Planet X. These are the comets that have been coming in for thousands of years, and more and more of them have been coming in, causing the effects we see on the Earth. Some of them are this large. This object turned out to be 7 times larger than the sun. This one's about the same size as the sun. That's how large these comets really are. They are dead stars. And so that's what Planet X really is. Now, the other thing that most solar physicists, as well as astronomers and astrophysicists, do is ignore observational evidence in favor of theories. They completely ignore images which clearly show spherical objects in the sun's corona, like these ones. Why do they do that? Because it is impossible according to theory, and they do not want to change theory. And therefore, with the exception of a few individuals like Holton Arp and James McKenney, they have failed to uncover the truth about how the universe really works. There is, of course, another motivating factor for steering clear of controversial subjects and agreeing with the accepted theories. If you don't, you lose your career or your life. Thus, observational evidence that shows that there was no Big Bang, that redshift is intrinsic and cannot be used to determine distance, and that matter is being created everywhere in the universe, from within the center of galaxies to within the center of stars, planets, and moons, is ignored. Matter creation, which is actually the transformation of photon energy, or in other words, light into matter, is how living objects form. They create their own outer layers. They create themselves from the inside out. And you may look at Article 522 entitled Stellar Cores or Sources of Matter or White Holes. And here are some more evidence of these objects being in the sun's corona, images which, of course, current accepted physics ignores. Now, quantum mechanics is also based on the premise that things happen without a reason, which is illogical. There is a cause for every effect. That is the way it is in our daily life, and that is the way we should expect it to be in the universe. To expect things to be one way in our daily experience and to be another way in the rest of the universe is illogical. Because what is patently illogical is accepted, quantum theory has failed to understand why changes occur and simply uses broad probabilities to track changing systems. But it is photon energy within particles and energy being released from a particular particle due to one or more lower energy particles being in its environment that causes changes. And you may look at Article 260 entitled Planet X in the Solar System, the Principle of Equal Energy Sharing. In addition to daily life, this principle has also been observed for centuries in the form of heat transfer. Why was it not applied to energy transfer at the quantum level? Because it became expected that logic was not to be applied at that level. And here's the illustration of how heat transfer works. You have a high energy object which has a high temperature. It is connected to a low temperature object, a low energy object, and energy flows from the high energy to the low energy. This has been known for centuries, but yet it is suddenly ignored at the quantum level. In fact, it's ignored at all levels. So it is actually what causes Planet X system stellar cores to cause energy transfer. In other words, CMEs from the sun. And the Planet X object would not even be able to come into the atmosphere of a living celestial object if it wasn't so low on gravitational or photon energy that it was no longer able to produce its own outer negative layer. So it's the fact that it's low in energy that causes it to even come close to other celestial objects to the point that it penetrates into its atmosphere, just like lone protons will penetrate all the way into an atom, all the way to the nucleus, and thus allowing a nuclear reaction. Once in the atmosphere of a living celestial object, if the dead stellar core is large enough, its electrical influence on the living core creates an instability, which results in matter creation within the living core. And you may look at Article 533 entitled Planet X induces supernuclear reactions in the Earth's core. It is the absorption or release of photon energy which results in electrons moving from one energy level to another. This occurs because the interaction strength of the force, the charge separation part of the gravitational interaction, that's what I have called it, which has not yet been discovered by accepted physics, varies according to the amount of photon energy or light within a particle. Thus, all matter and all energy comes from photons, in other words, from light. And you may look at my book 3 entitled Planet X Reveal Gravity and Light for more details. And this is illustrated here. Our photons are emitted when electrons move to lower energy levels. So in this case, if the electron absorbs a photon, it will move to a high energy level. It may even leave the atom. And the reason for that is because when the energy enters the electron is now higher in energy. So this interaction, the charge separation interaction, which causes protons in the nucleus and electrons outside the nucleus to repel, becomes stronger. So that's represented by the green arrow. So once the photon is inside the electron, this green arrow will grow. And that causes the electron to be repelled away from the nucleus. That's why it moves to a higher energy level. And that's why it may leave the atom. And in order for an electron to move to a lower energy level, it has to first release a photon. And it does so when it meets other atoms in its environment which have lower energy on other atoms. So if there are atoms with lower energy electrons and they are close to an atom with electrons with higher energy, then the electrons with a higher energy will tend to release some of those photons, and then they lose energy and they move to lower energy levels. Because physicists fail to think logically, they somehow never realize that an atom cannot even exist unless there is a force to counter the electrostatic attraction between the electrons and the protons, which here is represented by the orange arrow. So an electron is repelled by the nucleus. It's attracted by the nucleus because of the electrostatic interaction, because in the electrostatic interaction, protons and electrons attract. Whilst the gravitational interaction in the charge separation part, it acts against it. That's why there's an arrow this way and there's an arrow that way. And if this force did not exist, the charge separation force did not exist, then the electrons would collapse into the nucleus, and so atoms would collapse. So they have, as a result, also failed to realize that planets have the same structure as atoms and are thus positively charged on the inside and have negative outer layers. And what is saddest of all is that physicists fail to see the real beauty in the universe, where everything from atoms to stars and galaxies work according to the same patterns and laws. And this is illustrated in this diagram, where you have an atom. This is the simplest atom we know of, an hydrogen atom that has one proton in the nucleus and one electron in the outer shell orbiting that nucleus. And so it has an internal positive nucleus. It's positive on the inside, and it has a negative outer layer, its electron. It's the same way with stars and planets. They all are positive on the inside. They have a negative outer layer that is very rich in electrons. And it's the same with galactic nuclei. It's the same with stars. It's the same with planets. It's the same with a quasar, which is actually a proto-galaxy. It is a galaxy in process of forming itself. So the charge separation interaction causes oppositely charged matter to separate into an inner positive region and a negative outer layer. So in conclusion, physics has failed to discover the truth about the effect of planet X on our solar system, as well as the truth regarding how the universe works. This has occurred because of a failure on the part of the physicists to think logically, and also due to the fact that those who try are persecuted and often killed. Thus, deception and being in a world where truth is deemed dangerous because it may lead to the discovery of what planet X really is, has created this sad state of affairs. However, the Creator has seen fit to show me what planet X really is and show me many logical inconsistencies in current physics. As a result, He has helped me to see the real beauty in the universe, which He created out of light. And these are the references. This is Dr. Claudia Albers, Planet X physicist. Thank you for watching.